Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 2, Lawliet and Believe, here on Amazonia. On the top right hand side of the map we have Lawliet spawning as the yellow night elf player. Meanwhile, over here on the bottom left we have Believe spawning as the pink undead. Undead versus night elf once more. Lawliet having the advantage going into game number 2, as I'm going to go ahead and speed things up for the sake of time. Now, Believe really not putting down the early pressure as I thought he would in game number 1. He did do a good job though, and he was able to creep, but it really felt like the Demon Hunter was able to play the game that he wanted to play. And oh, an Acolyte gets a steal there. That was a huge deal, as the Demon... Wait, did the Acolyte? No, it actually looks like it didn't. It was awfully close. The Demon Hunter will actually get to level 2 on this. After this one particular Renegade Wizard falls, there you have it. I thought the Acolyte got the steal. It in fact did not, as the Death Knight now wanders off to the north. Well, even in death, that Acolyte body will be useful, as skeletal minions are now joining in on the fight here. And it doesn't look like Lawliet has hidden all of his acolytes, or all of his wisp, as he should. Archer now taking a little bit of damage there. It looks like skeletal minion will get denied. Death Knight still sitting at level 1, and Believe not getting the necessary harassment in. And it looks as though the Demon Hunter is going to be able to push back this Death Knight. At least you're buying time for yourself while you are creeping down the Renegade Wizard creep camp in your own neck of the woods. Alright, Renegade Wizard does get taken down. There is Claws of Attack +6. It was picked up by one of the ghouls, as the Death Knight now still wandering around here. That item will eventually be given to the Death Knight. No, ghouls cannot wear those Claws of Attack +6, unfortunately. Death Knight trying to get in some extra damage here, unable to slip through there. Lawliet, I would assume that you could actually from right here attack this tree. Why wouldn't you be able to? Not quite sure on the animation there, as we're looking at the ghouls finishing off this apprentice wizard and this rogue creep camp. Death Knight is now sitting at level 2, kills another unit there, and now uses the magic of that Rada Necromancy to bring out skeletal minions with swords and shields. Low hit point ghoul now heading back home, as Lawliet healing back up as well. He has a good number of archers, and I really like this play, building the Hunter's Hall off over here. His base is rather wide open to any sort of ghoul harassment, but it looks as though he feels fairly confident with the units that he has. Now you can take a look at this Death Knight, gonna try and get in front of this archer. We're gonna see a mana burn onto that unit already. There goes that archer taking a good bit of damage. There's the death coil, down it goes, as the Demon Hunter has to be extremely careful in order to not get surrounded here. If he does too much, oh wow, beautiful double back around here, as the skeletal minions are now trying to run away from that Demon Hunter again. All right, Demon Hunter trying to perhaps get to level 3 here. He does have a Cloak of Shadows, so he will be able to hide with his so-called fellow archers there, as the Demon Hunter now finishes off this Troll Berserker, picking up a Mantle of Intelligence. Not necessarily the best item for the Demon Hunter, as the Death Knight now going to be racing off to the north. There are a handful of Wisp here, and it looks as though they are not going to get focused down. Instead, going straight off to the north here. Why would you go here? Instead, nope, going after some Ancients of Lore. There goes one Ancient of Lore getting canceled. There goes a detonation as well, as more units are trying to run away. All right, Ghoul. One gets taken down. Second Ghoul. Looks like it could get taken down. No, it gets healed by a Moonwell, and now able to escape once more. Demon Hunter at level 3, able to get a very big mana burn off, as the archers are now going to join in on the fight. All right, this is a big problem. Panda with a whole large group of tightly bunched undead units. That is not what you really want to see. There goes another Breath of Fire, taking out a skeletal minion. The range not quite far enough. Demon Hunter still chasing after this ghoul, and the Death Knight unable to save it, as Believe is falling further and further behind Lawliet's play. Lawliet doing a great job here. Panda still staying alive. It looks as though another skeletal minion will get taken down. More and more experience, albeit slowly, given to that Panda now. Over here, Naga Sea Witch sitting at level 1. Naga Sea Witch being trained as a second hero for a more immediate impact rather than going for that earlier Lich. That the Naga Sea Witch does have cold arrows, which is extremely effective, but right now, because the Demon Hunter is already at level 3, every 1 point of mana on the Demon Hunter is equivalent to 2 points of mana on the opposing heroes because of mana burn. Naga Sea Witch now turning around here. Are we going to see a mana burn? No, we are not. He does not want to take all of that damage. Another cold arrow does go down, but the Demon Hunter, with his very, very fast movement speed on top of boots of speed, will be able to get away. Demon Hunter now going after some scouting units while the Undead army is trying to get higher levels. Will not be able to do so. The Naga Sea Witch will finally get on the board with some experience, but it may not help that much in the very, very end. Death Knight still looking fairly strong here, and the Demon Hunter is just causing a lot of harassment, reducing the amount of mana that the heroes have, while really not trying to over commit himself into any straight up fight. Now the Death Knight now up to what, 725, or excuse me, almost 4 armor. Going to be transferring that. No, not going to be transferring the potion of replenishment. Both of the heroes are fairly high on life, just low on mana because of that Demon Hunter, as the Demon Hunter now goes after the Sasquatch creep camp over here at the 3 o'clock position. Now, Demon Hunter going to be able to clear up. No, Panda going to be able to clear this up. He's going to get to level 2 very, very easily. Be well on his way to level 3. The potion of lesser invulnerability coupled with the tome of strength is going to make him just a much, much bigger threat than you would normally believe. Back off to the north, Demon Hunter still wandering around here once again. Death Knight still trying to get to level 3, and so far it looks like the overall course of the game is fairly even, but Lawliet seems to be playing what I would have to say the better game. We'll see if Lawliet will be able to continue that trend here. Getting to level 3 on the Panda while the Demon Hunter is away is very important. Meanwhile, we are going into the Dual Ancients of Lore, training up bears right now, and should also be getting that Adept training if it hasn't been, or that Mastery training if it hasn't been done already. Panda looking fairly strong there, picks up a Robe of Magi, plus 9 mana on this one guy already. There's the rejuvenation on that Panda. He needs to get more hit points back. The Druid of the Claw slowly regenerating mana, as well as the Demon Hunter with invisibility still scouting out his opponent, as the Death Knight now is at level 3. Naga Sea Witch still sitting at level 1. You can take a look off over here. The Death Knight now trying to hide away just a little bit, perhaps trying to give more experience to the Demon Hunter, excuse me, not the Demon Hunter, the Lich and the Naga Sea Witch, the Lich Witch combo. Meanwhile, back off to the north, the Demon Hunter may be able to pick up the item, and he does pick up True Shot Aura, and does realize what happened. That is going to be a big, big deal. The Tome of Agility, come on, pick it up. There you go, getting a little bit of extra armor, as the Demon Hunter is still causing some problems now. Back down over here, the Archers and the Dryads will be dealing bonus damage as the units off to the north here. What is going to be happening next? All right, Demon Hunter quickly mana burns out on that Death Knight. Death Knight now low on mana, unable to do any sort of death coils. Naga Sea or Lich is now the target of choice, as the Demon Hunter does not want to overcommit now that the Lich is within frost range ability of that Demon Hunter if he so chooses to reveal himself. All right, another mana burn onto the Naga Sea Witch as well. Are we going to perhaps see some Fork Lightning onto those Archers? That is the big question there. The Destroyers are now up in the air. Are we going to see some damage being had as the Death Knight now in a little bit of trouble? All right, Fork Lightning trying to finish off some units. There you have it, and still trying to make its way back out. Are we going to get out of there? Scroll of Healing, what can be used? He is still in a 4-unit surround. There goes the Death Knight, though. Beautiful, beautiful play. Naga Sea Witch also falls in that exchange. And with that, I believe Lawliet will be able to take this series 2-0, even finishing off a burrowed Crypt Fiend in all of that mess. And now the supply difference should be very telling. 48 over 50 compared to 37 over 50 with a reviving Naga Sea Witch, and, well, also a half hit point Death Knight with no mana. Panda Ventures forth a little bit too strongly. Let's take a look. Is the Panda going to be able to perhaps Drunken Haze Breath of Fire again? No need for it, as Believe gives the GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2 and the series.